1988, DCI goes to Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Chiefs and a great venue for drum corps. It was a fascinating year politically as the fall of communism was set in motion. Mikhail Gorbachev took over as president of a reformed Soviet Union. Ronald Reagan went to Moscow to pay his respects, and on the heels of that summit, I was one of a small group of journalists invited to Washington to meet with the president, talk about that summit. I'd asked him the question about the possibility of a joint manned mission to Mars with the Soviets. President Reagan looked at me and said, "Well, as you know, we recently sent an unmanned craft to Mars, and frankly, looking at the pictures, I don't know why anyone would want to go there." Vintage Ronald Reagan. Now, George Bush would go on in November to defeat Michael Dukakis in the presidential race. Florence Griffith Joyner would become an American hero, taking 3 gold medals in women's track and field at the Olympics. At the movies, it was Rain Man. Quotes like, "Gotta buy my underwear from Kmart" would become part of the American lexicon. It surprised a lot of critics when that film was named Movie of the Year, and we had some surprises critically and otherwise in Kansas City on the field.
It was a mixed-up year in Kansas City.
It sure was.
You'll remember
a
how
hot year, too.
It was the drought. We had a wild year there. The judges were literally picked out of a hat to decide what shows they would judge that week at championships. And they picked the order of performance the same way. So we didn't know who would go on at what order in finals. It was wild, and it kept everything mixed up and everything up in the air. Santa Clara, you remember, mounts this huge theatrical production of Phantom of the Opera. It's evocative. The whole court disappears. They've got magic tricks. They land up in second for the 4th time, beating Phantom in number of seconds. They get the bridesmaid prize. But the real story is the Madison Scouts. They are absolutely in character. It's their 50th anniversary. They go to Europe.
Knocked them dead.
Knocked them dead. Pandemonium wherever they went. They come home and win the title. It's an outrageous year. It's an outrageous show. The crowd says, and they say to this day, it's the most exciting show they ever saw at finals. I'm not sure I don't agree.
Well, you've talked a lot about identity here in this Legacy series, and one corps shed their identity, and it didn't work too well, did it?
No. Here's our Spirit of Atlanta, the big Southern charmers, and they start doing Stravinsky, Petrushka. I think it left the judges scratching their heads.
Left a lot of fans going like this.
And they went, "Who's this?" So it was kind of odd. But, you know, character also shows through in the Blue Devils.
Yeah, the Gray Devils that year. I wasn't real fond of the uniforms, but man, what a book. Happy Days and Since I Fell for You, it was hot.
That was one of my favorite years for the Blue Devils.